Has she done this more than once?
This is
Or
the,
this is
well, recently she had posted for a fundraiser for her daughter, but then again, it's still going through TikTok, even though the money, goes, I don't know, the money went to the school. As long as it's not going to an individual, I don't have a problem with that. Schools
right?
do need support with different functions, so. And then here's one more screenshot. And that Christmas is coming around, can't make car payment, mortgage, possibly foreclosure. That's not the only time she's had difficulty with possible foreclosure. So that's her needing help, right? And she asked for it. Okay, that was her saying she literally had no idea what to do. No idea. A mom having some financial hardship. Um, but within 10 minutes of her posting this video needing help, somebody paid her car payment. Somebody helped her. They helped the woman who was in need due to a temporary situation because she lost her job due to no fault of her own. Remember, it wasn't her fault that she posted a video of herself in her work uniform. It was someone else's fault because they called her out on it. So here she's going to tell us the story time about how that happened. It was because of a video that I posted here in my work uniform. Now, key is who posted it? She posted it. And somebody contacted the HR department. It wasn't her fault. So instead of contacting her to take it down, well, I mean, in actuality, if your work didn't want you posting videos in your work uniform, then you shouldn't post videos in your work uniform. It's not someone else's fault. And here's the video after 10 minutes of posting her temporary financial hardship. Somebody on TikTok took care of the car payment for her. So remember, she tells everybody, don't ask for money on this app. Well, this woman right here, our guest that we have in the box, she too had a temporary hardship. And this woman right here is a very kind person. She and I have spoken. She has two children. Two children. This woman was fixing to be homeless and kicked out on the street with her babies. Does that sound like somebody, like, it wasn't, this woman was out of work for 6 weeks. She works at a center for disabled children. She has a whole job. She was in a car accident, and due to the car accident, she was out of work for 6 weeks. She showed me the pictures of her knees, and they are so bad I cannot show it on this screen. They were split from one side to the next. But during that time, she needed to heal, not be kicked out of her home, onto the streets with her two children. Now, KK has said she has repeatedly been behind on her rent. In all actuality, the rent has been paid per their agreement. It has been paid based on her paycheck. So every month it was paid up until July.
Mm-hmm.
The rent was $700 per month. Up until July, that's when she had her accident on the 4th of July. She lost her phone because she couldn't pay that. It was a temporary hardship due to a temporary setback due to an accident, a motor vehicle accident. So you owed KK $300 for the remainder of July's rent, right?
Correct.
And at that point, KK was reaching out to you for the rent payment.
Mm-hmm.
By the very 1st of August, she had already applied with the courts to go on ahead with an eviction. So I'll let you kind of take over from here and share, what started with your accident, how that affected you, affected your ability to pay rent, and how you've always paid rent, what the agreement was when you moved in. And I'm bringing awareness to this because KK brought awareness to it. KK drugged this woman on multiple social media platforms. This mother right here. Okay, and
Yes. Yes, thank you. So, yes, look, we had an agreement. So I moved in August of last year. Everything was going smooth. Like we had a little rental
yeah,
thing.
I'm
She
sorry.
emailed it to
I
me.
need to interrupt you. Yes, this is KK, who is the main moderator for SP. This isn't doxing, honey. This ain't doxing at all. Go ahead, hon.
Yes, so this lady, we'll call her this lady who I was renting a home from, we had an agreement that said I would pay her $700 a month as needed, which my checks were weekly, every other week. She said I have videos, screenshots of everything saying, hey, it's okay, you can just pay it as you get it. So I mean, I paid my rent. Most of the time, I paid most of it all at once. There was some times where it was paid in chunks, which I have a message from her. Hey, that's fine, no big deal, as long as it gets paid. It always got paid. Um, I don't know what doxing is, y'all, so bear with me. I'm not trying to dox anybody. What's that mean?
It just means giving out personal, like someone's address, phone number with intent to cause harm. That's what that would mean.
No, okay, no, I don't want to cause harm. I just want to bring awareness to the fact that this person is just not, yeah, not a good person. And I'm not the best person. Look, I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, I do owe her money, period, point blank. I'm a tenant. I'm responsible to pay those things. I got into a car wreck 4th of July with my kids. She was posting saying something about how I had bought a car and then didn't pay her rent. No, I bought a car at the end of June, the middle of June actually, and paid her the rent. I owed her for some of July, but I got into the car wreck and was not able to work. And per our agreement, I was going to pay the rest of it, in July, like I always do. Well, I wasn't able to because I did not get to go back to work until August 26th. I went back to work on August 26th against my doctor's orders because I was getting evicted. I did not have a choice. As Chris was saying, she's seen my injuries and they were extensive. I shouldn't be working right now. Like I'm barely healed up, but I'm having to. I took on 2 other jobs. I'm working 3 jobs now just to support my family. Um, sorry. The people, she outed me on Facebook. She posted me in public places in my community where my children are football players and cheerleaders. These moms now see that, which I'm not again. Like, you know what? It is what it is. Like, that doesn't bother me. But the fact that it made it hard for me my work people are on there. They've asked me questions about it. It made it hard for me to get into a rental now because that is public knowledge. Like it's all over my Facebook. I've tried to delete it. It's on hers. She posted it in community groups. Like the landlord that I'm in now was in that community group, and they said since I'm a liability, they upped the rent that I have so much more because I'm such a liability because of that, because of all of the issues with it. So it's been a lot. But I got into the wreck. I was off work. My phone bill got shut off. My internet got shut off. My, credit cards are like everything is due, and I'm gotten. My son, he is disabled. He gets a disability check, and I had to choose between, do I pay my car payment for me to be able to get around and go take them to do this, or go donate plasma, or pawn something, or whatever I have to do, or do I pay her this $300, which obviously, it's kind of silly of me to not pay rent. But then I just was like, oh my gosh, what if I don't have a way to work? If I have, like, when I go back to work, like, my thinking, was like, okay, we have this agreement that as long as I pay it, blah, 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 that we're good. Well, she didn't even give me time. I did not have time. Like, that's just, it baffles me that somebody, if she wanted to evict me and she didn't want me to live in that house, then all she had to do was personally tell me. If she couldn't get a hold of me, go to the courts. You don't have to publicly out me. You don't have to do all the things that you do, like, publicly. I don't understand that. But then now that I've seen her, TikTokers, whatever, like, all those things, like, I kind of see, like, she just, like, I don't know if that's what she does, as, like, if she does it for fun, if she's just, I don't know. I don't know why, but I just know that I'm not a bad person. I know I owe her money. I've reached out to her. I told her I will pay her. She posted a post about me recently about how she needs a biohazard to clean the house. Look, and Chris can even verify, the day before, like, they were to go in and look at the house, I messaged her and I told her everything that was wrong with the house. I said, I left you the flooring as per our agreement. Look, I'm supposed to do the floors, right? In our agreement for the low rent, it was fix the floors, paint the walls, and like two other small things, which, I didn't get around to doing all of it. I got the flooring for it. It just didn't get put in, so I left it for her, and I told her, hey, I'm gonna leave this for you. So and she's like, well, I'm not counting that as any of the money. I said, that's fine, but it's, she's basically saying she's still gonna sue me for all the back rent plus all the repairs I didn't do in the lease, which is just being super petty because, like, anyways, but she said, all those things I didn't do. I texted her that, like, the night before, and I told her my son, he's autistic. He kicked a hole in the back wall in a behavior one day. You know what I mean? And so, um, I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to read the chat or not. I've never been on a live. You guys just bear with me.
Yeah, if it makes you feel distracted by reading the chat, you can just share
Okay.
your story and then you can answer
Okay.
questions because I'm sure people
Okay.
will have questions. But just take a
Okay.
deep breath. So basically, you were having a temporary financial hardship,
Yes.
which KK has also had been in that position
Yeah.
before, and to the point where she actually reached out to TikTok for help. She posted
Right.
videos. She was getting ready to lose everything, and someone helped her. Someone paid her car payment. I don't
Right.
know if anything else got paid, but someone took care of that for her. I just personally feel that this woman right here was blasted all over social media after being in a car accident, temporarily could not work, had a temporary financial setback, but then blasted all over the internet. If she wanted to evict, why not just evict her? Why blast her all over the internet? In her
Correct.
community where her and her small children live. Well, they're like 10 and 11, 10 and 11, am I right?
Yeah.
10 and 12.
Yeah. 10 and 11, almost 12 next week.
Yeah, but now all the parents that you associate with your children, their friends, parents, they all know. Everybody knows it's a small community. It
Yes.
didn't have to be done that way. I don't understand why it was done this
And
way.
then the fact that she posted and the thing, it was like asking people to come take photos of my house because she thought I was going to destroy it. Like, only somebody in a mind who does those things would think that someone was going to do that. You know what I mean? Like, that blew my mind. She posted in I'm not going to say the name of the edition, but the edition website, or, Facebook page, and said, hey, if you live in this community, I need you to DM me right now for the address to go take photos of my home in Oklahoma because I think these people are going to destroy it. I never once said any kind of things like I was going to do that. I never said any of those things.
You basically,
And it
you
just,
were renting this property, you were living in this property, and you had strangers coming to your home taking photos
yes.
of where you live.
My daughter came in and said, Mom, there's somebody at the road taking a picture of us. And I flipped. Like, I was like, Are you kidding me? And this is when this was because my kids were playing outside because we didn't have internet or phone service. This is before I knew any of this was happening. Like, I didn't know any of this was happening. My sister had to drive from her house to come and say, Hey, Lorena, this lady is blasting you on social media. And I was like, That makes sense. Once I got to see the post that everyone had me finally from when I used her, but like it was crazy. I can't believe that somebody would stoop to a level of that nature, you know, just evict me if that's how you felt and you didn't want me living there, evict, you didn't have to publicly humiliate me and diss me. I also get like I wasn't a bad tenant. That's where it boils down to. Period point blank. I paid my rent. I did the things that she needed done. I told her what was going on. I communicated. The only time I didn't is whenever I found out cuz when I got in the car wreck, I found out by an x-ray of my shoulder because I tore my rotator cuff as well that I
Mhm.
had a cancerous tumor or a tumor. And then I got to see an oncologist. I have a cancerous bone tumor in my arm. So all this hit me at once. My brand new car wrecked in the shop. Found out the thing on my arm. I'm off work. I'm getting evicted. Like I just had a temporary setback in my life. And this happened after. You know what I mean? It just, yeah. So
Well, how did this affect you with searching for a new rental?
yeah, it affected me tremendously because I was using Marketplace to look for everything. And the person that like I said, the person that I rent from now, they were in the group that was that she posted one of the groups that she posted on saying that I owed her money and blah 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 and all these things about me. And so whenever I reached out to them, they told me that they would rent to me, but I was a liability, so my rent is basically I have to pay a bigger deposit and my rent has to be more, which I think is BS, honestly. I don't know if that was just like them like saying, hey, like, like, ooh, let's get, whatever. It's slumlord stuff because I don't have the option right now. I have a fresh eviction on my record. I didn't have the option or the time to find another place, so I had to take what I had. And so that's what I had to do. I had to beg and borrow and use every bit of money that I had, what little bit it was coming in, because my job, I work a decent job when I'm working, and I got everything. I had like, when I went back to work, I had like 10 days worth of work, and I used every single penny to put down on deposit. I begged all my friends and family, which, I'm not a person to do that, but I had to get a deposit to go in this house. I still owe a deposit. They were nice enough to let me pay it out. So,
Mhm.
I just, yeah, that's where that went.
Yeah,
And
and
I'm also in a city that I don't even know. I had to move. I had to move where my children go to school at, and where my community where I grew up at, where I wanted my children to stay, and I had to move out.
your
So
children were
there's
they weren't going
that.
to attend the school that they normally would attend.
Not yet because I haven't told anybody that we moved because my son's autistic. I'm not trying to bring kids into this because I know that's not right,
You can talk
but he
about
is, and he's on an IEP.
you can
Yeah, my child is autistic,
you
and he
have
has friends, and my daughter, she's about to be 12 next week, or
mhm.
this Thursday actually. Oops, I probably should have said that. But anyways, she's about to be 12, and I'm horrified to move them from their friends. She cried to me and was like, Mom, why did you do this to us? Like, I'm getting, like, she's like, you should have paid the rent over the car payment, and like my own child telling me that made me feel awful. But I made a choice, and I made it probably not the rest. Maybe I could have paid her. Maybe she would have let me stay that month. I don't know. But she was at the courts trying to evict me before August was even up. And I only owed her $300 from July and then August. That was it. And she's sitting there saying all these things about how she's money, and she never, like, I have messages saying, oh, don't worry about it. Like, I just pay it out of my pocket until you give it to me. And she's making it say it's not a big deal. Like, like, I don't know. I just, ugh.
Had a
I'm not
tremendous
saying I'm right. Yeah, I have
effect on you and your
I have
child.
receipts, I have messages, I have everything.
And she does. I've seen what she has. She sent me a lot of
And
screenshots and even a copy of the lease agreement that was simply just a self typed up agreement done by through Facebook.
Mhm.
So basically,
Yeah,
bottom
she
line.
just emailed me something.
Well, I mean, she's the one who brought attention to this first. So, because as I said, I'm just very inquisitive. I know how that side over there operates and know that there's always two sides to every story. So, I wanted to get down to the bottom of it. And so that's why we're here.
And like I said, I've never once denied that I owe her money, and I've never once denied that what I've done was not was it was wrong as my on my part as a tenant. Never once. I've never been disrespectful. I've never been rude to her. I've been honest. I've been upfront, and I've tried to do right by her. I even offered to pay for some of the cleanup of the house because I know I left it in a little bit of a rough condition when I had to leave because we were in such a hurry to get out. I had 48-hour notice on my door and I'm trying to get everything out. And I even offered to pay for that as well to tack it on to what I owe her. I even told her, let's work out an agreement. Let me make a payment plan. I'm back at work. Like I was trying to, be cordial and work things out with her because I know that I owe her money and that is my, my part as a tenant to pay her. But yeah, like I want to do my part as well. I'm not saying that she's all such a bad person and oh, I'm victim, victim, victim. But I was in a temporary setback and I was a victim for a little while. I'm back on my feet and I'm trying to make that right. But what she did was wrong, and that's why I'm here is to say what she did was wrong. She did not have to do it that way. Like, and that's where, I want the awareness spread and the truth spread. Like, for someone to do that to somebody, that is just wrong.
Well, I look at it like this. She once needed help. She reached out to strangers on the internet for help. Did you reach out to anyone on the internet for help other than friends or family?
No,
Did you make a
no,
TikTok
just
to say,
no,
I need help? I have to leave
no,
my home. You didn't reach out to strangers on the internet?
no.
Okay.
No, I didn't make any Facebook posting after after it was already publicly outed by her on my book. Then I made a post and it was very nice. I actually sent it to you, Chris, if you can put anything of the stuff that I sent you out there. So no, I didn't. I dealt with it like I was
Well,
supposed to.
I think that, I think anyone who was reasonable would have understood this was a temporary setback for you due to an auto accident. You work, you have two children, one of your children is disabled, and here you are terrified because you're fixing to be homeless on the street with your kids.
On the street because my mom does not live here. And my dad lives with me as well. Just not to add to the sappy sad factor. My dad's dying. I take care of my dying father. He has COPD emphysema as well as Parkinson's disease.
Well,
So,
I can see
there's that
that,
in the mix of it all.
but I think it's only fair that you
I
get
don't
to
know if
tell
I,
your side of the story. That's why you're here to tell your side of the story, because there's
I don't have a lot of followers or know how to do all those things, and I'm glad that I'm able to do that. So thank you.
yes, you're very very welcome. Um, Now, KK's awfully busy on the internet all the time. Um,
Yeah.
she works hard for SP, doing all the digging. Will dig things up from somebody from 30 years ago that doesn't even apply to today, but it's content, you know what I mean? Because drama sells. Well, I'm telling y'all, KK needs to pay more attention to her children. She has a daughter who is crying for help. I'm going to read something. This is something her daughter posted on TikTok. When a girl says she has mommy issues because her mom didn't pack her favorite energy drink, but she's never been through her mom dating many guys to just leave her with a child. She also doesn't go through being ignored almost all day, every day, because her mom is always on her phone. I saw that TikTok, KK. You need to be mindful of what your daughter is posting. If I had a daughter that age, she would not be posting that. She would not be wearing what she's wearing while she's posting. Do you have any idea what your daughter's doing? You all want to save all the children of the world, but you have no idea what your kid's doing on social media? Do you know that she has men messaging her? Do you know?
I've heard that as well.
Do you know who her friends are? Oh, it's all there. It's all there. Go find it. I'm not going to tell you what her daughter's page is, but what I do hope is that she begins to pay more attention and be mindful to her children. Spend less time worried about what strangers are doing on the internet and look in her own backyard. Calling people out like this lady right here, which was completely unnecessary to post all of that on the social media just to humiliate you. You know, according to my calculations, that mortgage shouldn't be very much. A couple $100 a month.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have taken out a second mortgage. It was almost paid off 1 year ago. You took out another mortgage. You live rent free, completely rent free in California.
Someone needs to speak up for her kids because they're crying out and she's not doing anything about it. She's too worried about chasing all the crap on here versus, finding why her daughter's sad.
Yeah, I agree. And she brought attention to the situation. I did some research, and I'm just telling KK she needs to pay attention to what's going on in her home, because that really frightens me. It frightens me when, a child has strangers messaging her on the internet and posting things about how she feels about her mom always being on her phone all day, every day. She's crying for your attention.
This is what I call helping the children by bringing awareness to them not, needing that attention from their caregivers. What you're doing is just by saying, hey, hey, somebody let her know that her child needs attention from her. That's it.
Oh,
That's what I feel like.
You just had a perfect point. She said, but she's talking to their KK side. She said, but y'all support the ones talking about her children. So Nikki's telling the other side, which is KK's group, y'all talk about my kids, but it's not okay if somebody mentions something about yours. See, it's always that double-edged sword. It's okay when they do it, but it's not okay when somebody else does it.
Right. And you're not doing it to be malicious, though. That's the difference.
Absolutely not.
That's the big difference. You're doing it all not out of being malicious at all.
That's right. Absolutely am not.
That child needs help, but she needs attention. That's all. She's crying out for attention from her mother, and you're bringing awareness to that fact. You're not being malicious.
If she can't pay attention to what's going on, if one can't pay attention to what's going on in their own home, when there's a kid that's obviously crying out for help, but you're too busy, KK, worrying about what strangers are doing on the internet. You need to be worried about what strangers are seeing when they message your daughter.
Yes, agreed.
Yes. Spends countless hours streaming other people. She's got a kid that's crying out for help. It doesn't make sense to me. It's like an obsession. But this is what KK posted just recently. I believe it was today. Yeah, this off. I'm gonna read it. So this is what she's saying about our guest here. I am devastated at the condition of my rental property. My first home is going to need a lot of cleanup. Large trash clean out, biohazard clean out. Come on, KK. Biohazard clean out. That's a little bit exaggerated. That's what they do. I'm not surprised because they exaggerate. Huge holes in the walls patched up. And I think you've explained that your son has autism. And during one of his episodes, he did that. And that's something you would have fixed had you stayed there. Um,
Yes, it was a very recent incident that had happened, and I did mention it to her as well before she went into the house. I told her everything about the trash. I told her about the big pile of the giveaway stuff that we had at the front door. Yes, I mentioned all of that.
she says the backyard is just filled with trash and garbage. It's just absolutely awful. She wasn't perfect, meaning her home. It wasn't perfect when I left, but it literally just ripped my heart out when I seen the walkthrough a few days ago. Besides being out of 3 months rent, how many months of rent was she owed? She's saying 3 months.
One and like three, one and like a quarter.
So basically August, all
Yeah.
of August, and you owed
Yeah.
$300 for July. That was it, right?
Yes.
Because I will
So
now
one
have
and a
to,
half, I guess.
I will now have to put thousands of dollars into repairs, all while fighting to make sure it doesn't go into foreclosure. Well, honey, if $300 is going to put your house into foreclosure, you got some problems because your mortgage ain't much. You live rent free. You're giving money to strangers on the internet. How many hundreds of dollars have you sent in gifts on TikTok? A lot. You want me to show those? But you can't pay your mortgage.
Banks won't foreclose on 30 days. That's right.
What is your priority? So she will now have to put thousands of dollars into repairs, all while fighting to make sure that it does not go into foreclosure. Your house was almost paid off and you took out a second mortgage. Oh my goodness. Okay. Um, so she needs to make sure it doesn't go into foreclosure while she is over 1,000 miles away. But I can and I will do this and not let this person ruin this. Again, it's her fault. It's your fault that she's going into foreclosure because you were $300 late on July's rent and you didn't pay this month because you needed to get you and your children into another home. Your other option was
Yes.
to be on the street with your kids.
Right. Either pay her and then be on the street or find another home and find a way to pay her after that, which obviously I picked the latter because I have a life too and children and, you know,
This is not something that my mom and family back home should have to be dealing with, considering all the other things they're dealing with. Well, KK, why did you do
hmm,
this to your family? Why did you make them?
and
I mean, the lady was.
I spoke with her mom.
Oh, tell us about that.
Okay. Yes, at the eviction hearing, her mother was very kind to me. She said it wasn't a big deal. She was sorry about her daughter's actions and that yeah, her mom was not happy about her daughter and the way she was acting. She was like, I will not pick up the 48-hour lease until a week. She was kind enough to give us extra days before she picked up the executed lease for the 48-hour eviction. So her
At least,
mom was not mad about any of it.
at least her mother's compassionate.
Yeah.
She says, goes on to say, don't let people take advantage of your kindness. Yeah, KK, that was real kind of you. So kind. That was very kind of you, KK. Just pat yourself on the back. This mama right here with her two kids was almost homeless on the street. Go ahead, pat yourself on the back. Hurrah,
And
hurrah.
then the fact that she posted what really got me was praying court tomorrow, praying for 48 hours. When the eviction court was happening, she was praying that we would be evicted that day and out in 48 hours. She was praying that my children and my family would not have a home. Who prays for someone to not have a home? That is heartless.
I agree. Betsy, this woman was paying her bills up until she had an auto accident temporarily, temporarily out of work so that she could heal. Her knees were literally cut from side to side, went into the next. Was that staples that were in your knees?
No, it was stitches because staples wouldn't. They wouldn't have held. It was stitches,
How
but
many?
the stitches barely held. It was rough.
Do you know how many you had in each knee?
37 on one and 20 something on the other.
That's a lot. What other injuries did you sustain during your accident?
I had a torn rotator cuff, um, and my neck, my cervical spine was completely pushed up. Like, you know how like your spine's supposed to have a curvature? Mine was completely straight. I had no curvature whatsoever after the accident. So, I mean, it was pretty rough. And I wasn't even supposed to go back to work yet. But once I found out that she was evicting us, like, I had no choice. I had to. I literally had to beg my doctor. I said, look, I have to.
So not
Um,
only did you go back to your job, your full-time job, against the doctor's wishes because you had no other choice. You had to pay
yes.
your bills because you're
Yeah.
responsible and you pay your bills. So you went
Yes.
back to your job, you got a second job, and then not only did you get a second job, you also got a third job. And mind
Yes. I
you,
work
you have two children.
from 3 a.m. at one job, and then I work evenings at the other, and my regular job is daytime job. Yeah.
I am so sorry that you went through this. I really, truly am. I truly,
You
truly
know,
am.
I'm a believer in faith, so I think that this was put in, for everything for a reason, and that it's made me stronger. I mean, it sucks, it really does, but in the same breath, like, it's the next day, it's a new opportunity, and I'm okay. My kids are okay, I'm okay. And I said, I believe, I have my faith, and I pray for her, and I hope that she can have peace and forgiveness and love and all of those things, and one day see like what she's doing to not just me but to all these other people is wrong. It's wrong, and it's not what you're supposed to do in life, and I really do, I hope that she sees that.
Well, I hope that she can remember, think back to when she also needed help. I commend you for
Right.
not going to the internet and asking. We see that all the time on here, and we never know who to believe and who not to believe.
Right.
Um, but yeah, KK, you needed help one time. You had children. You didn't know what to do. You reached out to strangers on the internet, even though you tell everybody, and you just posted a video telling everyone not to give money on this app or the internet. But you did. You seem to forget that you once were in that situation. If I had a tenant that were in your situation, what I would have done is I would have been reasonable. I would have said, okay, I know you can't pay all of this month's rent. You're out of work temporarily because, I mean, shit, your knees were cut side to side, one side
Yeah.
to the next. How could you even stand? You're going to temporarily be out of work. Pay me what you can,
Right.
because I mean, you said that you were going to help with you have your son gets a disability. He
Yeah,
does
I could have paid something. Yeah, I definitely could have paid her something.
right,
But she requested the whole. She wouldn't take any partial, and I get her like doing that because like I think if you like accept partial payments, then the person can say. But regardless, like in the situation being what it was, why could you have not shown me compassion when people have shown you compassion in your time of need?
right. It's just like some of these the people on the internet that they call out. They claim that they love this person. We really love you. We're worried about you. We just want you to do better. But then they make these videos just terrorizing and laughing and making fun of and humiliating people. So how can you be both? How can you be
Exactly.
both? How can you be empathetic, relate to someone, care about them, want them to do better, but yet do the opposite by doing things that would cause people
Right.
to fall back into old habits or things that just aren't conducive to someone getting their life together and doing good. You know,
Right.
when the toughest flower asked you a question. She's a follower of mine. So if you
Okay.
want to ask answer any questions anyone might have. And if we do have some comments that are derogatory, you can just ignore them.
Okay.
I wasn't.
Was she stalking me? I want to say, like, she's obviously in a different state than I am, but as far as harassing me, she posted, for anyone who wasn't in here when I mentioned this earlier, she posted on where we lived, like the, I guess, like almost like community watch page or like the welcome page to an edition on Facebook. She posted in there and said, hey, if anyone lives in this edition, I need someone to go and take photos of my house. DM me, I'll give you the address, because I want to take photos because they're going to destroy my house. So she posted that, and then someone ended up taking a photo, and my daughter come running and saying, Mommy, there's somebody outside taking pictures. So I consider that stalking. That's harassment and stalking. Um, let's see, what
You
else?
had said that there would be someone there taking photos of the house, of her
Yeah.
house that you were renting.
Yes.
So at the
Yes. I
time
was the
that you
tenant.
were home, because you were residing in that home, you were a tenant. Was there anything in the lease that stated that she could enter the house at any time
No.
without your
No.
permission or without notice?
Yeah, she was, yeah, she, and to the fact that she said because she didn't post the address publicly that it wasn't illegal, but you're still saying for the people of that community to message you, and you'll send them my address where I reside until that court order says that 48 hours are up and you're allowed in it, where my children live, where my children play, where my things are, where my home is. Like, no, I mean, no, that's not okay. Um, and yes, with my child right there, MJ, like that's what, whew, because that's almost, if my child is in one of those photos, which we'll never see them because God forbid she put herself in a position like that. But if my child, let's just say my
That
child is in one of those photos, you know what I
screenshot.
mean? Um, sorry, when my, yeah, she, like, that's illegal. She's, whatever that is, I know that's gotta be illegal. I don't know the technical, law name for that, but she's taking photos of while my child is playing in the yard of my home that I reside in, to see if it's damaged. For what reason? You can find all of those things out whenever the eviction is done, when you come and enter the home, just like you did. And not only that, I told you of what was damaged. I told you what the house looked like. I told you ahead of time so you could be prepared. I even told you to have your mom bring her truck and trailer because there was trash in the house that I didn't have the means to get out. There was items in the house that I couldn't fit in my cars and leave, you know what I mean? Like, I told her all of those things.
So you
All of those
basically
things.
you did the best that you could do with the
Yes.
minimum amount of time you were given.
Yes, yes. And I was kind enough to say, hey, just so you know, these are the things that are wrong in the house. There is trash. The house is a mess. The weeds in the back are tall. Like, I told her everything. She didn't need to have somebody come take photos. Like, I was destroying her home. Like, if I had of, let's just say hypothetically, she would have found that out anyway. So why send someone to invade? Like, more than anything, my invasion, the felt feeling of invasion of privacy that I felt, the horror, like, it horrified me to know that. You know what I mean? Like, to know that people were taking photos of my life like that. I can't take that feeling back.
The post,
So there's that.
her daughter's post. She's crying for help. She's crying for attention. And KK's nowhere to be found. She's in Canada.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about earlier about, we're not exploiting her children, or like, you're raising awareness, like, hey, hopefully somebody sees this and she sees this and she takes action to fix it, before something, God forbid, somebody slides in this girl's messages, or she, goes out and seeks that attention somewhere else, from someone who's not, like, I'm just saying, like, what if that
There are
happens?
others already sliding into those messages, and it ain't good. And my first thought was, where is the mother?
Thank you. I have apps on my kids' phones to see everything they do. Period. Point blank. My kid gets a text, boom, dings on my phone, which she gets a lot, so it's really annoying, but at least I know. Good Lord, good. Thank you. The toughest flower.
KK's payment is equivalent to less than what she's given to people on TikTok. Like, she wants to give her money to strangers, but she doesn't want to prioritize her mortgage.
Right.
But yet,
Like in
this girl
personally,
for going
go
into a
ahead.
foreclosure, this isn't the first time she's been concerned about foreclosure. I mean, her first video that I showed
Right.
states it. That's when she went onto the internet to ask for help. There was one time when she needed help. People were kind enough to help her. My point is, this was a temporary hardship for this girl, and she wasn't reasonable.
And look, and I'm never denying that I owe her money. I've never said, "Hey, I owe you. I don't owe you this." Blah blah blah. All of this stuff. Like I've never denied it. I have said, "I owe you the money. I want to make a payment plan. I want to get back on my feet and pay it." You know, I don't want to leave on a dirty note, on a bad note. But she's making it that way. Like she's already told me that she's gonna sue me. Like if you like take me to court over this, like that is just beyond petty. You know, whenever we went for the eviction court, I told the judge about what she was posting about me. I told the judge, like, hey, look, I'm not like I was in tears, okay? I cried most of the time because there was nothing else I could do. I said, yes, Your Honor, I owe this money. And she said, is there any reason legally why I can say that this can't happen? I said, no, Your Honor. Legally, I owe her this money. And she said, well, then I have to give her the verdict. I said, but I do want it to be known that she is outing me publicly. She's posting publicly. She's posting asking people to come take photos of my home. Like the judge told her mom, she said, you need to tell your daughter that that is not okay. And if she doesn't want to get sued, she needs to stop.
No,
And so I texted KK. I told her that. I said, look, you know, and she said, I can post what I want. Like there's a post on her page that was like when I said the word something about defamation of character. She, you know, like I told her, I said, look, I can sue you for defamation of character. And she like posted it on there and was like, I can post what I want when I want, which you can. I just said, please don't post me. Like, don't post me. Like, I want to work this out with you. I'm trying to be cordial. I haven't done anything for you to not, you know what I mean? But yeah, so there was that as well.
There was the only purpose of her doing that was humiliate. That's the only reason. The only reason.
Right. Right.
There's no reason why anyone would post something like that.
Correct.
Her kid's covered up, BS.
Yeah.
But she needs to pay
Covered up.
attention to what the kid's doing. I can tell you that she can't be saving the world's children when she can't save her own children.
Mm-hmm. That's
Thank
correct.
you for sharing the live. I appreciate that. And if
Does
you
anybody
want,
want to know any other questions?
let your friends know. We're discussing this because this is important. This speaks volumes for someone's character, and the shit that they do over there. It's just, it really makes me nauseous. It does.
Oh, one of my friends are in here. Hi, Mary. I love you.
Hi, Mary. Welcome in.
That's like my second mama, so I love her. I'm glad she's here.
Yeah, I mean, I brought awareness to this because KK brought this out first. This is what I advise for everyone. Never take someone's word for face value. Never.
Right.
People can say whatever they want on the internet. If it's something that interests you and you'd like to know more, then find it out. Find it out. She has 3. She has 3. This lady right here has 2. She's protecting her children. She's taking care of her children. As a matter of fact, she's now, unfortunately, forced to work 3 jobs so that
Yes.
she can take care of her children. Because the renters do have the eviction now, so that made it difficult for you to get into another rental. So you had to share that information. So the rental that you are currently that you just rented was originally $1,000 per month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to pay an extra rental fee every month because you're considered high risk.
Yes, correct.
More because you have
And
an
the deposit.
because you now have an eviction, you now are considered high risk and you have to pay a higher rent. How much more do you have to pay?
I pay $1,600 for this house that we're in now. $500 a month more, which, like I said, these people could be just using what happened and being slumlords as, a way to get more money as well too. But I mean, I am a high risk tenant now according to them because of that, and nobody else would give me an opportunity. So I didn't have an option to pick a house. I didn't have time, nor did I have an option. I had to take, this was the only, and I mark my words, the only house that I could get. And for 2 weeks straight, I can show you screenshots. I called, I messaged, I asked, I sat on my phone for 2 weeks trying to find a place to live, and this is the only place that would rent to me.
Well, so the rent would have been $1,000 a month, but they
Yes,
increased it to 1,500 because you're considered high risk. Now you also had to pay first and last month's rent as your deposit. Is that correct?
correct,
Wow.
correct. All because of the person who I lease from now was in the group, one of the groups that this woman outed, like bashed me on publicly, saying all these things, saying, oh, she, like, I have the messages, and it was like saying I owe her rent, which I get that. I get,
You're
you
not
can
denying.
publicly
You've
post.
never denied that. You're not
Right,
denying that you
correct.
owed her $300 for the month of July. That's all that you owed, and then early August she files an eviction on you.
Yes, before even, and normally before those times, we were able to pay it out kind of like as a, like sometimes I would pay, like I would only have $500 on the first, and then by the fifth, I would have the other remaining. You know what I mean? So it was like normally it was never like her to just go and say, oh, that's it. Like and if, like it, our agreement was what it was and how we paid was fine, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. And so that's what threw me off, is like when I actually in a time of need, and she just did that. I don't know, I
Why do
don't get
you
it.
think that she suddenly had issue with you? Do you think maybe she's just having some financial problems of her
That's
own?
what I think, that, and that is exactly what I think, but I don't like to speculate or say that. But considering for most of the time, like there would be a month or two,
But
I
see,
think, before
show
this.
me, show me. This young lady didn't fail to pay. She paid partial rent for the month of July. She owed $300. That was what was left over for the month of July. And then early August, she's has an eviction thrown on her.
Yeah, and like the things that were done in the house, like I also did things that were not in the lease. Like I installed a brand new sink, fixed the bathroom, put in all new light fixtures, ceiling fans. We What else did we do? We did a bunch. We fixed the back porch. It was not lit. Like you were not able to walk out on the back porch. It's like no one had been on that back porch in years. It got cleaned off, the
The
outside
back
AC
porch was
unit.
falling apart, which is probably the
Yes.
same back porch that her daughter fell through and hurt her knee.
Yep, exactly. And we kind of fixed that up. It wasn't perfect. I had like boards laid over it. So like it wasn't perfect, but it was filled with trash, filled vines covered the whole thing. Like you couldn't walk out there. Over the summer, I went out and cut every vine. I cut every tree. Like, you know what I mean? I put a garden in the back. Like I did. I tried to keep it as best as I could too, and then when I got hurt, the person that we paid to do our, stuff like that, like the whole entire backyard got really tall, and I couldn't pay anybody anything. I was out of work and I couldn't pay anything. That is where my life fell apart. And I get it. You have to pay your bills. I never denied saying that I didn't owe her money, or that, some things weren't done correctly.
And
But
see, you
as
could have contested that in court because you did pay partial payment for the month of July and she accepted it. So
yeah,
the courts were essentially asking you what you would agree to them doing. So you
Right.
could have contested it, but you may not have known that at the time.
No, I couldn't stop crying because I kept thinking about how in 2 days after that court date, my children and me would have nowhere to live. Um, and that it was my fault, which, it wasn't my fault that I got in the wreck and got hurt. But, maybe I should have come on here begging and paid my rent. Who knows? That's how I feel right now. I just, but I didn't. And that's just, it is what it is. And now here we are. She evicted me. She outed me. She blasted me on all Facebook sites, um, on community websites, which that's the only thing that really ticks me off. Sorry. And she's put me on like a Mom's Rock page is what I'm gonna say because it's our town and then Mom's Rock. She blasted me on their our town community page, the estate page for where we live, multiple two other sites. Like I had people messaging me photos saying, "Hey, she's posting these things about you," and all of these websites, like all this community websites, like posted on my Facebook. That's as far as it should have went. Posting on my personal Facebook saying, "Hey, I can't get a hold of you," or "Hey, this is blah blah blah. This is what's happening." You didn't have to go to community pages and post all of the info and then ask for people to come and take photos of the house like I was going to destroy it. I didn't even know she was trying to reach out to me at this point. I didn't know. I thought she was evicting me. The last I heard from her before my phone got shut off and my internet was off was that she was sending me the 5-day notice and then she was evicting me, and there was nothing I could do about it. I didn't have any money to pay her. She didn't want to accept partial payments. I understood that. I said that's fine, and that was it. That's what I thought was happening. And then the next I know, a week later, my sister is driving up in my driveway saying, "Hey, I just want you to know that that this girl is blasting you on all social media sites. She's doing this, this, and this." And yeah, that's how I found out.
Like at the time, even your phone had gotten disconnected because you weren't able to work during that 6 week time
Yeah.
frame.
Yeah, T-Mobile disconnected it, and I got lucky because I was able, like, I figured out like I can make a payment agreement on it, and then I got my phone turned back on by doing a payment agreement. Which actually, what's today, the 7th? Oh, it'll be off again tomorrow, because I owe them so much money, and they've let me do payment arrangements. Like everything I have had a payment arrangement on it. Anything that was left on had a payment arrangement on it because of it. Like right, like I'm still so in the hole that both of my car payments. I have two cars, okay, and my car payments are due, completely due. I have one of my cars almost paid off. It's for my daughter when she turns 16. It's almost paid off. I've been paying on it for 3.5 years, and then I got my new car for me. So what I did for me since I started working my new good job in May, I got me a car in June, and then, which by the way, you have the screenshot. My rent was paid in full in June. Um, but yeah, like both of my car payments are so like I couldn't pay my car payments because of the high rent and deposit. I had to beg and borrow from my family and people. You know what I mean? So both of my car payments are due. Everything's still due. Like I'm not out of the hole yet. And I'm not asking for any help. I don't need any help or any money. I just picked up two other jobs. I'm gonna bust out and I'm gonna do this. But I'm just saying, I'm
Yeah,
not the type
we
of person.
here. We're not on here to ask for anything.
No, we're not. I'm not. I don't need help. I just want my story told because I was blasted so publicly and by so many of her people. Like, you know what I mean? Like she even had her sister reach out to me. Like it blows my mind, and I just want my side of the story told. And I'm glad to be able to have that opportunity.
Well, considering, I mean, she's had financial problems in the
Yes.
past. She's a mother. You're a mother. You had a temporary financial situation. I mean, when she bought the house back in 2013, she paid less than $27,000 is what she borrowed on the house. And then it was almost paid off. It would have been paid off last year, but she took a second mortgage out for $23,000. She's living rent free. I think that empathy is important. I understand, yes, a tenant has to pay their bills, but an eviction was requested after you were only $300 behind. $300 behind for 1 month. 1 month. When you did pay the rent, you didn't pay it all at one time because your paychecks, the way your paychecks fall, y'all had
Yes.
agreed that you could pay however you paid. You paid
Yeah, as I got it. As I got the money, she didn't care when she got it as long as she got the money, which I tried to do it all at once, but there were times when my checks would be short or they would fall differently and she would get them like, here and then 2 weeks later or a week later. Like that was okay. I've got messages saying from her, like that's okay. As long as I get it, that's all that matters. And clearly if you were paying your mortgage with it, as long as you get it, wouldn't you know what I mean? Like I don't know. That just makes no sense to me.
Well, there was no official lease agreement. It was just something that it looked like she typed up and sent it to you via Facebook.
Yeah, it was. She sent it to my email and I sent back agreed with my name. That was it. And I don't even think it had the address on it for the place in question.
Thank you all for the follows. Thank you all for liking the live. Um, well, I just don't get it. I really don't understand. I don't get it. If just a few $100s is going to put you into foreclosure, that means that you've not been paying, not you, that means that the homeowner has not been paying the money that you've given them to pay the mortgage.
That's what I thought. That's exactly my thoughts. And like I said, it wasn't an issue until all of a sudden it was in such a big issue that she thought, let's go and take her to evict her. Like, I don't, like, what did you need something? Like, like what was going on in your life that all of a sudden this agreement that had been fine for a whole year was not?
Well, apparently there's a lot going on over there because
Clearly.
I can tell you what she's not doing. She's not paying attention to what her daughter's doing on TikTok.
Yep.
And you were advised by court that you could file suit.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So if she sues me, like, can I counter sue her? Like, it's not gonna happen. Like, look, if she sues me, is that like mean of me to be like, okay, you know what? Like, I'm not paying you because I want to pay her.
to your well-being, and you need to protect your credit score. You need to protect the fact that you now have an eviction. You need to protect you. Okay.
Right.
So if you were to file a suit, you're filing it because you need to protect you and your family.
Yes.
Like you
Exactly.
already know that having an eviction is going to make it difficult for you to rent someplace else. You already know that it's putting you in a high risk category. So it's kind of like getting a credit card. You're going to have to pay, if somebody's at high risk, they don't have good credit, they have to pay a very high interest rate. So
Yeah.
essentially it's kind of like being punished for not paying your bills. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but yeah, had you known, and you didn't know because you've never experienced this before, but had you known, then yeah, you could have, this could have been handled differently through the courts, but you just didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't, all I knew is that I was going to court to be evicted because I didn't pay her, which granted, that's what happens when you go to court. But I thought maybe if because like I had a whole folder ready to show the judge and say like, look, well, all of these things happened to me and all of these things, look at what she's doing in return of my hardships. Like granted, yes, I didn't pay rent, but she said legally, is there anything? And there wasn't legally anything, I just had a financial hardship from my wreck and I couldn't pay her. So technically, I just felt defeated, like I didn't have a case. But I still felt like it wasn't like I should have spoke up more and said, "Hey, no, look what she's doing. This is not right." Just because of what she did. Period. Um,
Yeah, I understand. In the moment, I'm sure that your emotions were high and you just,
yeah, I couldn't stop crying.
yeah, I understand that. But
And
you
it's
did,
just so nice that her mom was so kind to me, and she didn't even know. She didn't know. Like she was like like she knew what her daughter was doing was wrong. And her mom showed me kindness in that moment more than anybody by saying, I will wait until later next week to pick up the notice. so that way we didn't get evicted within 48 hours. She waited until what was it, last week? Yeah, this week. We just moved in, so this week she waited. Or it was right, yeah, it was this week. Dang, sorry. Um, so yeah, that was cool.
Well, I am very sorry that this happened to you. I hope you never have this experience again. Um, I
Something
certainly,
needs to be done though about the way she is doing people. Yes, we all have our freedom of speech and our rights to speak about things and to bring, awareness, but to spread nothing but hatefulness and um, to bully people and just degrade them and just for what I just honestly I would just like to know why, like why, like are you hurt yourself, like is this what makes you feel not so like I just want to know like what, because like how can I, like I want to comprehend what is happening, how can we save the next person from this happening.
I understand that, and I have the same feelings about a lot of things that I see on the app. But I've come to the realization that there's some things I will just never understand why certain humans do the things that they do because we're not like-minded people. That's some things I see people do on here. I would never do that. I just wouldn't. I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine doing. I bring awareness, and hey, I've cracked jokes, and I've done things that I regret. But after an experience that I've had on here, I have a very different way of looking at things now. I really do, and
Absolutely.
I will never do things anymore to hurt somebody's feelings. I'll continue to bring awareness because it helps and it's necessary on this app, but I won't do anything to hurt anybody's feelings.
Right, you're not doing it maliciously, you
Right,
don't have malintent, you're doing it like you said to bring awareness.
right. Yeah. And, I don't know what her point was for posting this on TikTok. I don't know if she thought that, she was going to get some financial help from people because
Right.
she's complaining about her financial hardships. Was that the reason? You know, um, I can't, because people don't talk about how much money they don't have unless they have a secret agenda behind it.
Mm-hmm.
The beggars do that all the time. They'll talk about how much money they don't have, and it's because they want people to give. They want people to feel sorry for them. So I don't have the answer to that, but I question if that was the purpose because I can't understand any other reason why.
Right.
If when she can give her money to people on TikTok, gifting them, but is complaining that you being 1 month short of $400, you paid 400, you were short 300. So how was that going to put her in the foreclosure? She would have to have been behind multiple times.
Right. She must have, she would have had to not been paying it as it was anyways. I don't get it.
They're not shown, Renee. She's covered up. I covered her up, but she ain't covering herself up. KK needs to know that when she's on the internet. I
She
mean,
said move on, let's talk about Scotty.
save the children. Save the children. Save your own child because
Yeah, it needs to be because she's asking right there, like she's putting that out there as that's a cry for help. If me personally, if I saw my child um doing that, I would change a lot of things in my life. Period.
like
My kid posts
teaching
and
them,
right,
knowing what they're doing on the internet. It's so important to know what your
it
kids are
is.
doing on the internet.
Yeah, it really is.
Does anyone have any questions for our guest?
And, like I said, I grew up in the town that she was from, and, I know she's had a lot of issues as well. And so I try to show like sympathy because you don't know how people are raised or grow up or any of that stuff. So I'm not here to be malicious to her and be like, but shame on you. That's all I have to say is shame on you for being so inhumane about a situation that could have been handled so between two people versus now social apps, websites that has caused so much harm to one person for what, you know?
For what? For what? Exactly.
Yeah,
For what?
for what? What was the purpose of it? That's what I don't understand, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, if anybody doesn't have any questions, you guys can also add me. And Chris knows the story, so if anything comes up or if something gets posted or said, and anybody wants to know if it's true or if it's false or what my side is, I'm more than happy to hop on anytime or say anything.
Well, I'm sure that there will be a
Oh,
rebuttal,
yeah.
but my advice would be instead of worrying about this and having a rebuttal about this, you might want to take care of what's in your own home, honey, because it ain't looking so good. Not you. I'm talking
Yep.
to TK.
Yep.
That would be, if I were a mother of a child of that age, that would be my priority right there. That TikTok would be gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hands
And
down.
I would
Or
be
even
spending some
like,
time with my child.
right, like ask her, like, what's going on? Why, how do you feel? What, like,
And
I
she
mean, she just had a dramatic, the
told the world that
move
she
and,
doesn't know who her father is.
right. And then the dramatic move they just made.
Alcohol is
So, I
more
mean,
important than her. Like, you need to know what your kid's doing.
exactly. Well, all right, Crystal, I'm gonna hop off. You guys have a great night, and thank you for letting me bring awareness. Teresa, I actually did. I am on the waiting list for both of those. Um, I could afford housing. It's just that I can't. I couldn't at the time. It was a temporary setback. I got into a car wreck. What did you say, Sunflower? That.
Yeah. Um, I was just reading one of the comments. You're welcome. I also want to ask who who the picture is of that I have
Oh,
posted up here, and I was letting them know who that was.
okay.
And doesn't it take a long time to get Section 8?
Oh yeah. Our waiting list was 3 years out, I believe. But I do move up because, like, I know this sounds bad to say, but because my son's disabled, we do get moved, but it's still at least a year, at the very least. So I did apply for all of those things. I called 211. I asked for rental assistance. My last option was a shelter, which, obviously, I have a vehicle, so I mean, I would probably do that, and then, whatever I had to do. I'm not against that. That could have all been prevented had it been played out correctly and humanely, is what I think.
So you reached out to resources. You did not turn to TikTok to
No.
ask for money or ask for help. KK, when you were needing help, why didn't you turn to resources? You turned to TikTok. And you were very familiar with TikTok, but you turned to
Right.
strangers to ask strangers for help.
And just knowing, like, she was in a situation like this before where she was in need, and that's like, show me the same compassion that people showed you.
Right. Yep. Some stranger on the internet helped her. This is someone
Right.
who's from your own community.
Right. And I wasn't asking you for money. I wasn't asking you for anything except a little bit of time. That was it.
Yeah, just time.
Just a little bit of time to get back on my feet. A payment plan, a schedule, which would, anything. It didn't have to go down the way it did. And then you publicly humiliate me for what? What did that help you? How did that help you get your money? Which was the whole reason this started over. How did posting me publicly on multiple websites and platforms help you get money. Oh, I mean, I guess that maybe it did help make people feel sorry for her and give her money. Who knows? But how did it help you get money from me?
Because apparently I read a post on someone else's page that has recently had conflict with the person that she moderates for, and apparently the community has given SP money multiple times throughout the past. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. But, KK buys subs. You can buy subscriptions on here and give them out as a donation to people in the chat. And so she does that for SP. So, I mean, if she's so tight on finances, why is she doing that and not paying the mortgage? I mean, the priority should always be your bills. You were paying your bills until you got an accident.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I don't know, KK, do better. That's all I can say. Do better.
By multiple things, not just, like being humane, doing what you got to do for your kids, everything. Like, there's so much more than, social media platforms, literally. Like, that's all I see is social media from her, like, about everyone else. But what about the person who needs her most right now? I'm just saying.
Yep, I agree.
Maybe this will get back to her and maybe she'll see it and go, oh, wow, maybe I do need to do something about it. Maybe, probably not, but maybe, you never know. Some people's messages reach people in a good way.
Well, I have a feeling it's not going to be, this message isn't going to be taken in a good way.
Yeah.
The messages that she sent to on multiple platforms about, your personal hardship.
Yeah.
It wasn't very kind. It wasn't very fair. And it
But I
wasn't.
still, yeah, and I still wish her the best, and I still hope that, she gets what she needs, whatever she's looking for, and I hope her kids, are happy. I hope everything works out for her, regardless of the hardships that her, what she has put on me. I still don't wish any bad to her. I just wanted to bring awareness to the fact that it's not okay for people to do what she's doing, and that needs to be brought up more than once. Like, hey, this is not okay. Do better by society, do better by people, do better by, it's not it, yeah, just do better.
Well, I mean, Pamela's not charging her rent to live in the house, so she's living there rent free.
Yes.
I don't get it. I don't get it. But
I don't
KK,
know.
you need to save the children, honey. Yours.
Literally.
So, now you had said that you thought if anything good came out of this, you were talking to me earlier when we were chatting that there was, if anything good came out of this, it was what? You talked about when you had to get to the hospital, you had x-rays done, some radiology scans.
Yeah, I said if anything good came out of this, it was that the car wreck actually saved my life. Due to me finding out that I had the bone tumor, and I'm seeing an oncologist for it now. So, regardless of all the hardships that have happened, it is a blessing in disguise for that reason right there. Because who knows what could have happened? Could it have gone unnoticed? So I'm very blessed for that.
I'm glad that you're able to, find some positivity out of this situation. It's obviously been very difficult for you in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Have you gotten
In a month. My life got turned upside down in a month. Well, 2 months now, I guess, but yeah, it was not fun. It was not good, but I got through it. I'm on the other end of it. I'm on the up end of it now, although I am working 3 jobs and all my bills are behind, but that's okay because, we have a home. My kids are happy. They're loved. I'm glad that everything. And now I'm able to share my part of the story, which really has been bugging me. But I've been trying to be cordial. So thank you for the opportunity to be able to share about it because it has been weighing heavy on me. And, I wanted people to know my side too. And I hope this is screen recorded from somebody so that when it gets back to her, she can hear my side of the story. And I hope she listens to it. And it gives her some insight as well.
Yeah, I would like to see compassion come from this. That's what I would like to see.
Me too. Probably not, but me too.
Yeah,
We'll see.
just showing that, she actually has a heart and can care instead of just hurting people all the time.
Yeah, and and I might have unintentionally hurt her by, maybe I did make her, credit score or whatever, her mortgage. Like maybe I did do all of those things by not paying the rent, but it was unintentional and I'm trying to make it right.
Yeah, the month of July, what month is it going to? I mean, you only owe $300 for the month of July. 300, you'd already paid 400, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. And then I got evicted in August. And so she's saying, because I was in August, that I owe her August, which I do over August, because we were still living there in August. So technically August and then 300 from July, which is the whole time I was off work for my injuries.
Well, that mortgage can't be that much because, I mean, when she refinanced it, it was less than $30,000 over
Right.
a year period. I
And
mean,
she told me that she paid it anyways out of her own money. If anything came up, like she was never worried about it until she was. Like it just like it happened suddenly. It changed like her like it was like now, I need the money now. But all of a sudden it was not like that before. So I don't know what happened with her. Like I don't know. I
maybe
don't
she
know.
really needed that money so that she
Right.
could give more gifts on TikTok.
Very true. But yet her mortgage isn't paid. I don't get it.
And maybe SP was desperate for more subscribers, so she desperately needed that money to purchase subscribers to gift out for SP. I don't know. I'm just being sarcastic,
Maybe.
but
You
it
never
honestly
know.
wouldn't surprise me.
You never know. You don't have money to pay your mortgage, but you're buying new subscribers every day and sending them out for for her. Like, that's crazy. She could have been, that's very true. She said she could have been a couple months behind too. That's very, very true. And I think that's what happened, to be honest, in my opinion. Just my personal opinion is that the money it did send maybe didn't go to what it was supposed to. And she got behind and expected it at a certain time. And then my, life, obstacle happened and then there was none. And so she was like, OSH, you know what? So,
Instead of purchasing school clothes for her kids, because school just started, maybe she overspent on TikTok gifts and subscribers for SP, and then that made her short for buying school clothes for her kids. Who knows? But I
right,
mean,
because those, they add up, all the money you can spend on here. Like, it's crazy. Like, the amount of money that people, the subscribers and all this stuff, like, it all adds up.
yeah, 750 would have made, yeah, because a mortgage of less than $30,000 financed over the course of 20 years
Yeah,
should
do
have
the math
been
on that.
$200 a month.
Yeah, do the math on that. And then she tried to say it was low rent because of the stuff that needed fixed in the house. Are you kidding me? Low rent. I mean, like you're like you said, your mortgage couldn't have been that much, right? Like I don't know, I don't get it. How like do the math on that because she told me that she would send because I was like, I can't basically she told me she would send me a photo of her mortgage loan to show that it was going to all to mortgage because that's what she was saying she needed just that amount just for the mortgage. She never did send it. So I don't know. I've been wondering that myself.
Yeah, how much did she say she needed just to cover the mortgage?
700 exactly was for the mortgage, no less, no more. It was all going to the mortgage. And the house, yeah, the house was livable. Yeah, it was livable. There was, I mean, the floors in the front room were completely destroyed. There was a hole in the roof, which, by the way, I had mentioned to her, and she never said anything about it. She said, oh, because she said she had renter's insurance on the house. And then I mentioned the hole in the
So
ceiling.
she has renter's
On
insurance in the house.
right, yeah, that's
Where does she have renter's insurance?
right. I don't know, but yeah. So, but the house was livable. It was fine. It wasn't it wasn't like it was like condemned or bad or anything. There was just stuff. But yeah, she had renter's insurance on it, and there was a hole in the roof, but it didn't leak through to the thing. And we just tried to tell her like, hey, look, this is something you might want to. What do you want us to do? We don't want it to ruin your house any further. And nothing ever got done about that. Like there was always like little things we reached out to her about and told her like, hey, this is going on. Do you want us? What do you want us to do? And we never got responses. Like it wasn't a big deal, but now that no one's there, and it's a huge deal. Like it's her baby or home, and it just that it makes no sense to me. That's all. Make it make sense, please. Because it wasn't a big deal until it was, and it just seems like all a clout thing to me, and it drives me nuts.
Was she kind and cordial at least to you throughout the past year that you've lived there?
Oh yeah, she was fine. Very polite. Never really rude until that money didn't come, and then boy, she flipped the script on me. I literally thought like, okay, this like I have messages. This girl was so nice, and like everything, like my, it was just, and then she flipped the script, and turned it. I mean, she flipped a 180, like evil stuff. Like I have things that were just this shouldn't be said, like very rude, disrespectful. Um, yeah. So yeah, she flipped the script on me after.
Did you voice to her that this was putting you and your children into a very difficult situation?
Absolutely. I begged her, begged, said I would do anything, told her my situation. I said, look, please, like, do not do this to us. Please do not make me move right now. I can't. There's no way I can. I didn't think I could. I didn't think that I was gonna be able to do this. Um, and she just said no. That was it. Well, I got like a 3-line text after I begged her with like 5 paragraphs, telling her like I would do whatever she needed. Like, let me make a payment plan. I will get her the money. Like, we were trying to borrow, and like I was gonna, I was figuring it out, and she just said no. Something I can't remember what it was, but it was a 3-line text. Literally, that was it.
So she just wouldn't work with you at all. I'm sorry. Very sorry. Um, if I were in a situation where I was living rent free, and I had a home with a tenant in it, and this happened, just personally, I would have been empathetic, and I would have said, okay, you gave me more than half of the rent for July. I'll accept that. Please just catch up, or we would have made an agreement for you to catch up. I wouldn't have just thrown you out on the streets with your kids.
Right. I mean, and especially like if you're put in a situation where it's a financial hardship for you, you have to find a new tenant, evict me, find somebody. You haven't even found anybody. You gotta have to find somebody, like make sure the house locks are changed, make sure the house is in order, and do everything, and you're still not gonna get your money. So why not just let the current tenant who's staying there pay you money and fix fix what's like the behind rent and stuff. Like that makes no sense. Yeah, and I was, especially like I was in a car accident. Like what, like I, it makes no sense to me. I tried to get short-term disability through my job, but I didn't qualify because you have to work like 31 consecutive days, and I had switched positions, even though I worked there for 31 consecutive days. Since I had switched positions, they said that I didn't qualify, which is BS. But um, yeah,
Goodness, it was just one thing after another for you.
yep, it sure was. And it just didn't help that my landlord of a year just threw me for a loop and threw me out on on my butt with my kids and my life in shambles, and had no compassion. Um,
How does this affect you?
Someone mind you that I grew up with. We lived in the same community, and we said hi in the hallways of school. Like, you know what I mean? Like things like that, like just that, knowing that she's been in hardships. I have children, she has children. She knows life happens. I know life happens. Like, just show some compassion.
How has this affected your children? Because I know you have kids, especially your child with autism.
The move is horrible whenever because it disrupts the routine. Um, and it just completely disrupted our whole routine. Our whole life flipped upside down. My daughter was afraid, because we're having to move so far away, she's not going to get to see her friends. Well, I'm having to commute back and forth to their school, which is a 25-minute drive. And like it's a hardship, you know what I mean? And it's hard on my kids, especially my son, because the routine's disrupted. Once the routines are disrupted with children with autism, it takes a while to rebuild that.
Yeah.
And now here we are trying to do exactly that.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, your side of the story. Um, Thank you for sending me a copy of the lease agreement and other receipts because it's nice to see those to back what you're saying. And I appreciate you, and I wish you the best of luck. I
Thank
hope
you.
the kids settle into to school, and I wish you luck with your healing. Your healing from that accident. Your knees, bless your heart. I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't even show the screenshot of that. Yeah, we will pray for you.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. But I've got to work tomorrow, so I'll hop off here. But like I said, if anything, you can contact me about anything. I'm here.
Certainly will. I certainly will.
All right.
We'll be in touch. If you need help with anything, just reach out to me. If there's anything I can help you with, I will help you.
I appreciate it so much. Thank you guys.
All right, hon.
Bye.
Bye. Do you know how to? Nope, there she goes. She's out. Okay, let me change the picture. Did everybody get their screenshots of what they need? Y'all need me to post any more screenshots so that you can get your screenshots? Okay. Let's see, I'm going to change this one. I found this one to be kind of funny because this was in her on her TikTok in 2024. It said she would go to jail. If you guys want a screenshot of that one, you can take it. And let's see. So that's when she needed some help. Anything. And that's when somebody contacted her work and it was their fault. Well, the thing is, just my personal opinion is I would have been what I would consider reasonable due to the situation. Due to the situation. I mean, I didn't expect a certain side to agree with this, but I mean, she put it out there, so all I did was ask questions. I reached out, just like the old telephone. commercial, reached out, touched someone. Alrighty, guys. Well, I think I'm gonna hop off. That was this evening's live, so I appreciate you all for joining me for this awareness live. And no, you can't live rent free. And I mean, she stated that. I mean, she didn't expect to live rent free, and it was only 1 month. It was the month of July. Minus, she's only minus $300. Um, I would have given her a break due to the situation, as opposed to throwing a mom and her kids out on the street. Good to see you, Tafis. I hope that you're doing well. Yeah, I definitely would have also. I mean, she didn't reach out to social media like a lot of people would for help. Yeah, she just didn't understand the process. Like she said, she was basically a nervous wreck when she went to court, and just didn't understand. She was frantic, not knowing what she's going to do with her kids. If I had two kids getting ready to be evicted, I mean, I'm sure it's a very scary situation to be in with school just starting, trying to find a house. It's hard to find a place to rent these days. Rentals aren't a dime a dozen. Liza Tamari, did you want to come up or are you busy? It is a sad situation. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I'm fixing to sign off. Thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate it. Um, Hopefully, instead of a rebuttal, KK can focus all that energy on taking care of her kids because obviously her daughter needs it. You have a good night, too. You're very welcome. Good night.